All right. Welcome back to the Triple Cross podcast. Here with all three of us. This is exciting, boys. I like it when we're all three here. And we are talking hoops again today. Missed football talk this week. That's okay. That's all right. We're just going to talk some basketball. And we cannot be talking basketball without talking about Brooklyn. It's really like, it's the main story right now. So like, Q, what is happening over at the Brooklyn circuit? Like, what is this? They've got so much going on. Like, what are they doing?
Dude, it is an absolute shit show in Brooklyn right now. They just have too many moving parts. Yeah, I don't really know what to say about Brooklyn right now. There's just so much going on.
So just to catch everyone up, if you're listening to this and you're like, what? So first of all, we've got the whole Kyrie Irving sort of controversy happening. I think earlier in the week, Kyrie Irving, or maybe it was last week, I'm not sure. Kyrie Irving put something on Twitter. He put like a link to a movie on Amazon on Twitter that has some, I guess, anti-Semitic material in it. He was criticized for it on Twitter, and I think even by the Nets like PR person and stuff like that. He was given a press conference. They held a press conference earlier this week. So he had a press conference, like a post-game one against the Pacers, and they started asking him questions about it, obviously. And he kind of he wasn't really apologetic, right? He just kind of said I saw something. I thought it was interesting information. So I shared it. Like, that's all he really had to say about it. And then they held another press conference where it kind of seems like the whole plan was to just get him to apologize, right? And he didn't really. And I have that press conference queued up if we kind of want to watch it or watch some of it. But they've now, after that press conference, suspended him for no less than 5 games. The complete update is he has now deleted that controversial tweet, and he has given an apology on his Instagram account where he said I'm sorry, for any Jewish men or women or families or whatever that I've hurt or offended. I was more concerned with the label of anti-Semitic, on me, and I wasn't really thinking about those who I might have hurt. So I think it's basically it seems like it's kind of hey, shape up or shape up or you're not going to play. You got to just say you're sorry or you're not going to play. Q, what do you think about this?
I think it's honestly it's obviously a tough situation just because the environment right now and everything going on, with the whole, Kanye West situation is kind of similar to this one. I think everyone's just very they don't really play around about that type of stuff. So no. I get it in a way, but at the same time, it's I feel Kyrie's situation is a lot more different than Kanye's situation. At the end of the day, all Kyrie did was post a link. He didn't even leave any thoughts on said link. He just posted a link. So I kind of feel that alone, isn't enough to kind of really, crucify him over this. I feel now if he would have posted that link and was yes, I support this movie. You guys all must watch this. This is law. Then that's a completely different story that. But that wasn't the case. So, and then with the press conference, I feel I feel he's justified with what he said. He explained that. He explained that he just posted a link. It's not he said that he's in full support of everything that is said in this movie. He didn't make any crazy claims like that in his tweet. He literally just said that he posted a link to a movie and that was it. It's not anyone, anyone that's on social media, if they post or share something, doesn't mean that they support it or are in complete agreement with whatever they shared or posted. It might just be for awareness purposes, So, and I fully agree with that, honestly. And I think I think the craziest thing to me is that Draymond Green literally folded his teammate and didn't get a suspension for it, but then Kyrie
From his
gets
organization,
suspended for posting a link to a 5-game suspension for posting a link to a movie on social media, which is
we're talking about practice, Q. Right?
That's the craziest thing to
practice.
me. Like you can display violence, but when it comes to posting a link on social media, then you're just so in the wrong, and that just shows you like the direction society is going on.
Right. Well, and it's up to the organization, of course. Casey, thoughts on this? Because I think, I mean, I get what you're saying, right? Like, it's like all this dude did was post a link, and he does have his right to free speech. I haven't seen the film. I think that from what I've heard, there's like some very extreme views in it, right? But he didn't necessarily support them, right? He just put it out there. Like at the same time, I do kind of think that like, yeah. I mean, look, we live in a free speech society and stuff like that, but like Kyrie Irving is an NBA player, and he's been an NBA player for a lot of years now. And it's not like this dude doesn't know, like there's like, it's not like he's just oblivious. Like, I can't believe I just posted this and people like are so mad about it. And then if what he says is true, where he's like, I definitely didn't believe everything I heard in the documentary, right? Like then it's not like he watched that thing and thought, yeah, I can't see anything in here that would offend anybody. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, I honestly think sometimes Kyrie Irving just cannot help himself from being publicly weird, and like, so like, it's not like he didn't, I can't imagine he posted that link and thought like, there's not going to be no, this isn't going to bother anyone, Yeah. Like, I think he makes waves on purpose sometimes.
Who even cares if it's on purpose, honestly? Like I just think it's besides the issue. Q, you didn't really like totally fill us into your like viewpoint on this before we started shooting, but you said like you thought it might be an unpopular opinion, and I was just shooting from the hip, but I thought it was probably not an unpopular opinion on this show, because I'm pretty much with you. I mean, we're way past the territory of, in my opinion, like where we should be as far as like social media and how seriously we take it. It's, to say that whatever you put onto your social media profile is a publication, which is like the word publish, the verb publish is being used in all the reports on this. Like Kyrie Irving published this tweet. Like nobody ever says you published a tweet unless they're trying to make it seem bigger than it was because of some outrage. So there's like selective like words going on here, and language is what makes language like directly translates to the thoughts in people's heads. When you use a word like that, you're trying to do something, and it's done every time. And to like the freedom of speech thing, we are way past, in my opinion, way past the point of like what we're allowing people to say on their own personal thing. It's not like Kyrie Irving like friggin' took over his team's social media and posted it on behalf of the whole like organization. This is his own brand he's built up. He has every right to put out whatever he wants on his own profile. Like nobody owns that except for him, so he can do whatever he wants. Sure, maybe there's a reasonable amount of blowback that comes to it, but like for his organization to take these actions, it's kind of par for the course. So like in one breath, I'm not surprised, but it's not what I think is correct. I always follow this kind of stuff under, you have to separate a man from his work, right?
Let me ask you this.
No matter how you cut it, he's one of the top 100 players of basketball in the world, probably. And how do you also expect that person to be like a flawless human and all these like, new like social norms? Like, it's just probably not going to happen. Dude's kind of a savage. Like, that's how you get good at a sport.
Yeah. So I have 2 yes or no questions to ask you guys. Just quick yes or no questions. Yes or no. Do you think that Kyrie Irving has every right to post whatever he wants on his Twitter account?
Yes.
Question 2, yes or no, do you think that the Brooklyn Nets organization has a right to suspend somebody for whatever reason they see fit?
Yes.
Ultimately, yes.
Well, not whatever. And also to the other one, not if it's something like illegal activity, I guess. So both largely yes, but with...
Yeah, but mostly yes, right?
I think technically yes.
So here's my thought. He's
suspended with pay, right? He gets paid for the games, right? Like any bonuses.
I don't know.
I don't think this is like suspended without pay. That'd be kind of a different story.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the pay situation is, but here's my thought on this, and it's similar to. Do you remember a few years ago when like Johnny Manziel got in trouble with the NCAA for selling signatures, selling his own signature? And the whole argument was like, well, this is, I mean, these like NCAA football players are essentially getting like, kind of like taken advantage of because they're the product, but they're not allowed to monetize that at all until they become an NFL player. And if they do monetize it, then they're like, there's all these repercussions. Their eligibility gets taken away. They can like lose championship rings. They can lose Heisman trophies, all kinds of stuff like that. My position on it at the time was like, yeah, look, there's two arguments here. There's the argument of whether whether the precedent is correct or not, right? Like should
Right.
college athletes be able to monetize themselves or not? And then there's the precedent of like, did this dude like break the rules knowingly? And the answer to that is yes. And I guarantee that the Brooklyn Nets organization has social media standards for their players, right? Every college organization does. Even when I was a college athlete, like lots of years ago, they had social media standards of things you could and could not post and stuff like that. So like, I guarantee that he's somehow violated his like social media standards of his organization. A lot of times they don't like make stuff like that public because then it like creates this debate of like, oh, you guys like monitor what your players can say publicly. Like, yeah, well, we're an entertainment organization, right? Like they're entertainers. So I don't like kind of condemn the Nets for suspending him for it. Like that is what it is. It's an entertainment organization. They're entertainers that represent that organization. That said, like, there's a whole other discussion about like whether somebody or whether like the organization should or should not do that or should not be able to.
I don't mean to like, without you like finishing, I don't know if you are, but I don't mean to tear into your thesis here, unless you're totally done. But does it matter whether it's college or pros too? Like, is there a difference there? I think potentially, because and maybe even against my own argument, but like you say, sure, the organizations and the pros are technically entertainment like media. Are the colleges really that? No, those are like institutions of education first, right? So like, does that make a
I would say
difference whether it's college
their
or pro?
athletic programs are the same thing.
Like, couldn't it even be in the way of like whenever somebody says like it's entertainment, I think like WWE, right? And like they do all kinds of stuff there, right? Like this is bringing publicity, and if you subscribe to like no publicity is bad publicity, like I mean, there's more eyeballs on the Nets now than there were before this happened, and it's not necessarily.
I hear what you're saying.
I don't think that everyone subscribes to no publicity is good, or all publicity is bad. Good publicity
used to be more true like 10 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, no, I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I think in this situation it's a little different just because of the climate. Like the social climate's a lot different now than it was like a couple years ago. So like people are like I was saying earlier, like people are very sensitive to that type of stuff. So like if you put anything out there that's like, like someone views as any type of racism or anything like that, or like, anything, like they don't play around and they will come for you. So
I'll put it this way. I support Kyrie's right to free speech. I also support the Nets' right to suspend him for potentially violating terms or not, right? Like whatever, right? I support their right to like manage a player that represents their organization. Now, whether they should or not is a whole other subjective discussion that I don't know that I have like a firm stance on, right? Like, that said, I think they're just generally a circus. So they got other stuff going on. It's not all Kyrie. The Nets also fired head coach Steve Nash this week. Only 6-7 games into the season, they made the decision to fire Steve Nash. And then who do they hire? They hire Ime Udoka. Am I saying his name right? Ime Udoka. He was the Boston Celtics coach last year, currently serving a suspension for inappropriate relationships and conduct with a female Boston Celtics staffer.
Yeah.
And the Nets are like, you know who we need. We need this guy.
I almost wonder, like
next they're going to sign Josh Primo. Like, you got the Josh Primo is a Spurs player that just got waived this week for like exposing himself to
the was it like the trainers or something?
Something.
Yeah, I heard.
Nets are about to pick up his contract.
Yeah. No, but I mean, honestly, I don't blame them for taking the opportunity. And I also don't blame Ime for
I don't
going.
blame
'Cause
Ime
I feel
at
like
all. He's like,
it
oh, I
would
can
be,
work.
yeah, it would be weird, like after the suspension, for him to come back in that organization after what they did to him, essentially. I almost wonder, like, Celtics players gotta feel some type of way about this. Like, they have to. Like,
I heard a take on this earlier that I'm like, ooh, that is a pretty good point. That Ime may not ever be able to be unsuspended until this particular staffer like chose to move on from the Boston Celtics herself. You know what I mean? Like, because it seems that they had, it seems like that it's an untenable working relationship between head
but I
coach
mean, they
and
gave him a
they
one-year
can't move her, like they can't fire her, like that's lawsuit city, right? So it's like he might never be able to work for the Celtics again until she just like decided to leave. So yeah, I completely understand it for him. Like, just go to a different organization, man. Like,
can I just be the one to say, like, where is there like social justice, like white knighting in this scenario? Like, that's the main thing that I didn't like about the Kyrie thing, is that it's like, you gave him just a small enough suspension to where, look, we did something, but also it's not super significant, and it's probably not something big enough for him to fight. It's not like they suspended him the whole year so that he'd be fighting that. Like, I didn't actually breach the contract. It's small enough to where he goes like, fine, whatever, I'm not going to deal with it. But
right.
this they do, like, this is like a move. Like, this is a big move, and it's kind of opposite of the voice they're using in the other issue, in my opinion. So like, where's the consistency? It seems like they're just kind of like pandering, really, like, and just taking opportunity wherever they can.
Okay, I have something to say about this.
Go ahead, Q. Yeah.
Is it okay? The reason why he got suspended, because I'm still very, very unclear about like why he got suspended. Is it because he's married, or he has a fiance, and like the person who he was having this relationship that I heard was consensual? Is it because that she's married? Is that the reason why he got a year-long suspension?
I believe it doesn't necessarily have to do with that so much as the fact that like she's it could be a sexual harassment kind of minefield.
But I mean,
because I read it was like he had some exchanges of like crude language with her and stuff like that.
Is it more of like the boss and like that whole dynamic?
Like maybe, I think. Well, I don't think that details are clear. Like, she hasn't.
It seems like the organization originally thought it was consensual. They were led to believe it was consensual, but then more evidence came out that she said it was unwanted, like advances kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, okay. She's married, so like, yeah, I don't know.
Well, I mean, let's not get into that.
This is everybody's operating based off of like perception, like what makes me look good, what makes me look bad. We're all chasing our tail on these things. I think it's all just a crazy rabbit hole, really. And they have nobody to blame but themselves as an organization if they bring this into their house while they're trying to maintain this like squeaky clean thing, Well,
let me ask you this, Q. Why do you think the Nets brought on Ime Udoka? Like, do you think there's a basketball reason?
Yes, 100%. He's amazing.
You think he's like a good enough coach to wrangle this team?
He's an amazing coach that took the Celtics to the semifinals, like
the championships.
The championship, exactly. So yeah, like I completely understand that, and to have him work with guys like Kyrie, KD, like Ben Simmons, like I think that's just like it's gonna be great. I think he could turn that team around.
So 2 years ago, Udoka, back when Nash D'Antoni was an assistant, Udoka was also an assistant for the Nets. So he has a prior working relationship with like this era of Nets. He went to Boston as the head coach. He's coming back. It seems like the issues they're having with Nash are like there was rumors that like KD already wanted him out like during the off season. He's like seems unable to kind of like wrangle this team together and like make it work. At least that is what it seems like, right? Like, or that's what they think. But I think that even the Nets owner, Josiah, said like, hey, there was like a lot of outside of Steve Nash's control circumstances that aren't really his responsibility. So I guess that's the question is like, because Udoka was around during the last time that this iteration of Nets was like any good, really. Are they thinking that he can wrangle them? Like, basically, they've handed the keys to the kingdom to KD and Kyrie, and they let them make all the decisions. So, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like Ime Udoka is he just like one of those like Ty Lue type coaches who's just like, yeah, whatever you want, LeBron, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. I mean, sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't, but I think Ime will figure it out regardless. Um, and I think also the thing is, it comes down to like respect, like and it goes both ways. I think in the dynamic with Steve Nash and KD, I think those rumors were absolutely true. I think KD did not have respect for Steve Nash, so he
That's
kind of
wild.
just did whatever he wanted to do with the team as the star player. And it was kind of just out of Steve Nash's control because he's the superstar, and you're just this coach that KD, I feel feels like he knows more about basketball
Okay.
than Steve Nash did. So he
Yeah.
felt like this is my team, like I'm gonna do whatever I want. And also, I felt like he did want him gone.
Yeah. Okay, Casey, last word on the Nets before we move on. Is it just time? Like, is this like, okay, this is clearly not working. Like these two guys that you've built your whole team around, there's a good chance they don't stay anyway. Like, should the next Nets just be kind of looking into their rebuild at this point? Do you think? Is this circus just falling apart?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting some choppiness on your end, by the way. I don't know if you're seeing that as well too, Q. But
Sorry.
yeah, I think that's exactly what they need to do. I think you need to just figure out what you actually like I said, even from like the decision making point of view on things outside of basketball, it does not seem like they're totally clear on what this organization really stands for or believes in, or what if they really have any values, or if they're just kind of like succumbing to mob mentality, things like that. Like, I don't know. I just think it's a wishy-washy way to like run an organization, and it kind of seems like it's a wishy-washy way of running a team too, a little bit. Like,
Yep.
I don't know that they know where they're going, and I think you find you identify the key pieces. Helps if they're like, if there's a lot of future, projected future in those pieces, and you just build around that, and you just run with the ball.
Right. Yeah, they're definitely built for win now, which is the struggle. I mean, aside from KD and Kyrie, I mean, their floor spacing essentially comes from like Seth Curry and Joe Harris, who are role players. Everyone else is a role player, really. And other than Ben Simmons, which I'm operating under the assumption now that Ben Simmons will never be the player he was. But let's move off the Nets. And let's move on to some other teams. Right now, I feel like the NBA is a league of like underwhelm. Right? Like there's a whole bunch of teams that it's like, man, what are they? Are they like not good? What's going on here? So let's go into a little segment I'm calling how high is the panic meter? Like where are we at on panic scale here? And let's start with your boys here, Mr. Quentin. The Lakers sitting at 2-6, 14th in the West, tied for 13th in the West. Or nope, they are 14th in the West, straight up, not even tied. So 14th in the West, sitting at 2-6. Started out 0-5. Obviously, they improved a little this week, but how high is the panic meter for the Lakers? And this is thinking about it compared to like what they as an organization, like what kind of expectations or hopes they have for themselves as an organization kind of coming into the season, and the way things are going. How high internally should they be like, okay, this like panic, like on a scale of 1 to 10?
Is this meter like, is it 1 out of 10? Like
1 out of 10.
10 being like panic,
full panic, like we got to do something different right away. 1 is like we're good.
Okay.
1 is like where the Suns are at right now.
I'm gonna have to say we're at like a 7. We're at like a 7.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I could get behind a 7.
A 6, but nah, we are at a 7.
I could get behind a 7. I would say probably more like 8. I mean, last night against the Jazz was the first time I've seen Russ like play well. I'm
happy you brought that up.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, Russ looked good. He was actually efficient. He took care of the ball. He didn't turn it over. He played decent defense. I mean, nobody on their whole team played very good defense, but he played decent defense. Yeah. Like, and he was like, but like so much else of the season, he's just been like, dude, this guy is hurting. He's hurting you more than he's helping you. And especially as a 6-man, like coming off the bench, like that's what you need out of a 6-man is either just straight Jordan Clarkson style, like, I don't know, fireworks, or you need the dude to be efficient. and it's like Russ is like going down the middle, other than last night. So hopefully, I could see if he could play more like he did last night, then I could see them winning more games for sure, kind of getting on the right track. If I'm the Lakers, honestly, I don't think we really have what we need, right? Like when we're getting like big minutes out of Austin Reeves, like that's not what we're looking for in a win now mode.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, dude, they just really need to get on the same page, and that's really it. Like, that's all I can say. I think there's great players on this team. I think Austin Reeves is a great player.
Okay.
I think Matt Ryan is a great player for what
You're
they are.
He's a role player.
For what
Matt Ryan's got he's got a nice trigger.
Hey,
for
Matt
sure.
Ryan got us a win, so I don't want to hear it from anyone.
That was a nice shot. It was a good shot.
But I think they're all great players. They just need to get on the same page. Like Russ is clearly like showing us like he's good, so he just has to be consistent. He needs to work on being more consistent. And even Lonnie Walker has impressed me. Lonnie Walker has really impressed me a lot.
Lonnie Foe. Yeah. Lonnie Foe, pretty good. What do you think?
I'm gonna take a surprising take on this one. I think I'm gonna say like a 5 is all. For a few reasons, like there are some things to always be excited about. There's silver linings everywhere, for one, and two. I mean, what is the panic compared to? Is it hey, are we freaked out? We're not going to win the championship. I mean, is it?
It's compared to whatever your expectations were before. So what do the Lakers think they are? I don't think the Lakers think they're like maybe a playoff team. I think the Lakers think they're a contender. I think they probably think they're a playoff team for sure, maybe a contender, but also they know they've taken some risks, right? You add Russell Westbrook, into the equation here, and we know who he is at this point. Like there's data significance on like what he does. They can't move Russ. They can't move it. I think they took him on and they didn't know what he was fully, and like now they can't move him. But also like you got like an aging LeBron, right? Who like I'm not saying he's fallen off, but like with every year that he's still on the team, right? I don't think you expect him to have like his best career year any longer. It's not going to happen. You're going to get 50 games best case scenario out of it. Yeah, and he's going to be on the decline every year from here on out. Is probably worse than the one before. I don't know. Maybe that's a hot take. I don't know.
No, I don't know about that. Last year was a pretty good year. Last year was probably one of his.
Then how is he supposed to go up?
You think it'll be better this year?
The Lakers are not contending anything. The Lakers are not contending anything.
Well, do you think the preseason expectation in the Lakers organization is that they're a contender?
Like a championship contender?
Yeah, like a title contender.
No.
You do not think you don't think that they expect that of themselves with LeBron James and
maybe
and AD.
No, I feel like they'd be silly to think that. Like they're
okay.
Trash.
Well, that
terrible.
Makes sense because they're kind of hanging on to those 2 picks that LeBron wants them to trade for, like Buddy Hield or something like that, and or somebody like that. And so it seems like organizationally they're kind of like holding back, where LeBron's like, look, any team that has LeBron is in win now mode, right? Is his thought on it.
Thank you. I think they just need to listen to LeBron. Like I can tell Magic does not want to listen to LeBron. Like Magic. Yeah, I've heard that from multiple Laker fans. Is that like you are in win now mode? Like let him build the team. He's been doing this, and I feel like they don't want to listen to this man. Like
most organizations give him the keys to the kingdom, and it seems like the Lakers haven't.
Yeah, they have not. There's no way, because they would have been winning. He's frustrated. Yeah, you can see it.
Maybe
you can see it.
Yeah. All right.
He's sitting on the bench, closing his eyes, meditating. Like
he's using the Headspace app, right? No. So okay, Lakers panic is somewhere between levels 5 and 8. Warriors, where's the panic? Where are we at on the panic meter here? Sitting at 3 and 7, sitting at where in the Western Conference? Currently 2 spots above the Lakers in 12th. My take here is that the Warriors starting lineup is incredible, like very good. Maybe the best or second best starting lineup in terms of efficiency, like on both ends of the floor, real plus minus, all that stuff. They just they're not getting anything from their bench. And so, but you have to have that. I mean, you got to have a 7 to 8 person rotation. You look at how they won the championships last year. It was an 8 person rotation typically. Boston was running a 7-person rotation that deep in the playoffs. So you got to have 7 to 8 in the rotation that are like really, really solid, or just be deep. Like, you can play Jazz style where it's like, we're going to be 12 deep, but like, yeah. How high is the panic meter here? Casey, we'll go to you first since this is your squad.
Yeah, I think for the same reason why I actually said lower for the Lakers, I would say kind of lower here, but it's not because this team expects to like repeat and do great things again. I mean, they do for sure, but like we're still early in the season. It's not like they can't do that still. Depth can develop over the course of the season for sure. But the main thing that I consider in this is like, is anybody really on the hot seat right now, given how they already did last year? Like, so panic, at least like that word specifically. I don't think anybody's panicked. Maybe they're wondering if they're
how close are they to making some kind of like real move, or how close should they be?
Yeah, I don't really think they're all that. I don't know that they're all that close yet.
Specifically the Warriors, I don't think so. Yeah.
I don't think so.
Specifically the Warriors. And honestly, I think the big difference why I'd put the Lakers at maybe an 8 and the Warriors at maybe the 5 or something like that, or a 4, is because I don't think the Lakers are one move away. Like, let's say they make the decision to trust LeBron. They trade those picks for who he wants. Like, you remember that one time LeBron went and got Isaiah Thomas in Cleveland, and then he had to trade him away, and then he went and got D Wade, and he had to trade him away, and like he just like couldn't figure out how to play with anybody. Like, I don't think that LeBron always makes like the best decisions in terms of like what players to bring in and stuff like that. So like, even if they trusted him, I honestly like just eye test looking at the Lakers. I don't think they're like one player away or something like that. Whereas the Warriors, I'm like, there's some key pickup that would give them what they need off the bench. Plus, rotationally, if we could get James Wiseman and Andrew Kuminga less minutes, like that would be great. Like those guys are so disappointing. Like, let's just stop with them. And so if we could get someone in who could give us kind of what we need off the bench in Golden State, if they do need Clay to step up a little bit. But Clay, Steph, Draymond all playing with minutes limits right now. So uncap those minutes limits, make a couple rotational changes, and maybe one player comes in that gives them what they need off the bench. And then I think the Warriors are there and they're really firing.
I'd just sum it up with this. I'd say panic is for teams that feel like they can get over the hill, and but they're currently feeling like they're backsliding.
Panic is relative Warriors, at this point in the season too. Nobody's that panicked. It's early,
Sure, but I think that the Warriors have already reached the top of the hill based off of last year, and I think the Lakers are not really like seriously. They're not losing a ton of progress.
They've been backsliding for a couple seasons now.
They're still
I just mean like they're kind of approaching the hill is all really.
Yeah. What do you think on the Dubs, Q?
I'm gonna give them a 3. I'm not really too worried. I mean, it's probably for most people alarming that they're 3-7 right now. But I mean, like John said, it's just so early in the season. Like, some of these teams haven't even reached 10 games yet. Like, it's not that crazy, and it's not that crazy to me that they're like that. But I think overall they're a solid team. It's like the same team as last year. So
they're gonna well, I mean, they're missing some key rotation, like some key bench players, right? And then like they're trying to give Wiseman minutes, and that like I don't understand how he has like the physical. I don't understand how a guy like James Wiseman can be in the exact right position and like still not affect a shot. Like what is he even doing? I don't know. Let's move on. Timberwolves big move in the offseason to grab Rudy Gobert, pairing him with Cat, currently sitting at 4-5. I gotta think that this kind of move has the Timberwolves expectations as like, thinking maybe top 4 in the West, thinking maybe winning a round, maybe winning 2 rounds, making a deep playoff run. But 4-5 and some losses that are like a little bit disappointing. What do you think on the Timberwolves panic meter there, Q? And given maybe adjust the panic meter relative to point in the season, because nobody's that panicked this point in the season.
I gotta
except the Nets. The Nets clearly are, like, and they have reason to be.
Yeah. I gotta say I'm neutral on this one, honestly. Like I said, 4-5, so early. Like they can go on a fat winning streak and really turn things around. Yeah, I could see that happening, but it's still too soon to tell. And also, this is like a new setup for them. Like it's a new team, Cat, it's Rudy playing together, so they're still adjusting, but they'll find their groove, I'm assuming.
That kind of matchup, like you put DeJounte on the Hawks and you can kind of roll the balls out and it'll work. You know what I mean? Cat and Rudy like that. I think it'll take some time. So I'm with you. I don't think I'm super high on the panic scale here. Casey?
So I'm actually, I think I'm a little higher up than the other ones on this one because one, this is a move that the current team, like the current management actually made, right? They can't blame it on like past decision makers or decisions that had some success in the past that have kind of waned in efficiency. This is like a move. You make a move, your ass is on the line for it.
They more or less cleared their bench to get Rudy.
And it's
cleared their bench and
like,
their picks.
And it's similar to what you said. I was going to bring up that same point. Like you toss like a playmaker onto a team that's already, pretty good at scoring. Like they're probably just going to add to the scoring bonanza, right? But like the real like chemistry and like schematic like view of the team, like what is that? I think they're still finding themselves, and whenever you're looking for that, there's a chance you don't find it, and that's when whoever pulls the trigger on this might be answering some questions they don't want to find themselves having to answer.
So this is a good point because, again, I think I'd put them somewhere between. I think the Lakers need to be a little bit more urgent about their situation. That's why I have them at a 7 or 8. I don't think the Warriors need to be all that urgent. I think they can make maybe one move, one trade, some minutes adjustments. The Timberwolves, I don't actually see like a great way out for them because they have Cat and Rudy, which creates this like weird awkward spacing. You can tell Anthony Edwards has 0 dunks this year. He has not dunked the ball one time because there's 15 people. Like there's so many people. There's too much bodies in the paint. Like he can't dunk, right? And then but the bad thing is it's okay. You got Cat and Rudy. That's fine. Cat can shoot, but Cat's kind of playing this like let's run the offense through him type of role. But then you also have Josh McDaniels, who's not a shooter. Like they don't have spacing. Like how are they? Yeah. They need spacing, and they're more than 1 or 2 moves away from that. And they move their spacing out. Like they moved Jared Vanderbilt, who's their stretch big man, out. They moved Pat Bev out. Like they kind of cleared their bench, like I said, and they have no picks and they have no trade assets. So how are they going to get that spacing? Where's that going to come from?
My last word on this would be a question for you, John. Do the T-Wolves in making that move? Do they have higher expectations before the season started? Did they have higher expectations for themselves than a team like the Lakers? Because in my
think so.
I kind of think they did. That's what I'm.
Yes.
That's why.
Yes. Yeah. I think they're. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because that move for Rudy was huge for the team. So like their expectations, like they I'm assuming feel like they're contenders now.
And Malik Beasley, they moved. That's more spacing they moved out. Gosh, yeah, and their picks. Like what can they even trade now? So yeah, no, I mean, honestly, I think they're in a situation where it's like, we got to make it work. We don't have any other assets to trade.
And it's also a really good point that you made about like the whole spacing issue and like Anthony Edwards not typically being able to play how he traditionally plays, and him having to kind of adjust his playing style because he can't just drive to the basket all the time, just because you got 2 big guys inside the paint. Like, yeah, it's definitely different, and you also just don't have the best shooters and people who can create space. So it's a whole different dynamic, and I think it'll take a couple of games for them to really get used to it. But if they can get used to that, like the playing style they need to actually win games, they will be disgusting.
Yeah, so I will say they are very built for the playoffs. I could see them essentially being good by being like a top 3 defense in the league. And if they do that, then it's going to be, like they're going to be one of those playoff teams where it's like, there's no scheme here really. Like, like you can't beat them, but with adjustments. So they will be kind of built for playoffs. A couple quick ones from the East, and then we'll move on. We talked Nets already. I think panic meters high there. Like they got to do something different. Or maybe they just are. Maybe it's purpose. Like maybe it's
on
the
bell
purpose.
curve.
Like maybe Josiah's like, you know what? Let's just lean into the circus over here. Yeah, absolutely. They're like the outlier in the data. Miami Heat 76ers, both sitting at 4 and 6, both currently, if the playoffs started today, they wouldn't be in them. So the Heat in 11th, the Sixers in 10th. So the Sixers would be in the play-in. But where's the panic meter here on the Heat and the Sixers?
I'll weigh in first here. I know less about the Heat, more about the Sixers. Got some Sixers on my fantasy squad. Been following them pretty close. I think health is a big factor here.
Yep.
You know, they've
Oh, yeah.
missed some key players for a few games already. You know, Embiid's going through some stuff. Who else is missing on the squad? I don't know. All I know is Tobias Harris,
James Harden.
Oh, James
Yep,
Harden,
James
of course,
Harden.
yeah, and
Yes.
friggin' Tyrese Maxey and Tobias Harris are showing out now. So I think that in a weird way, you've almost got some confidence that as you see these like huge, you know, superstars kind of missing time, these other role players are stepping up, and that just makes their starting lineup look nasty when healthy. So the main concern would be like, are these like lingering, nagging injuries, or is this just kind of like unlucky stretch? So I don't think it's super high.
Yes, I hear you. My main concern, if I'm the Sixers, is they're very, very built for win now. They've got a 33-year-old, 34-year-old James Harden, Joel Embiid, similar, Tobias Harris, similar, Montrell Harrell, I don't know how to say his name, Harrell, PJ Tucker. Like, these are guys who are getting minutes, all guys in their mid-30s, I think. You know,
are we not confident that they
30s,
can win now, though? They can win now. I
mean, I think they can win now. The danger for them is they struggle during the regular season and they get the Celtics in the first round of the playoffs, right?
Yeah,
or they get
behind too early.
Or if they get the Bucks in the first round of the playoffs, right? And then they're in early out, right? So
well, we told the Warriors not to panic at 3-7. So like, I guess it's just that's where I'm at with it. But
if the Sixers can win some games with Tyrese Maxey and Tobias Harris leading the way, then I would be impressed, right? Like if Tyrese Maxey can step up here. Tyrese Maxey is one of those guys who's like, how good is he? He's kind of like Anthony Simons over on the Blazers. It's like, how good is this guy? I don't know. Q, what do you think?
Fourth best player, and he looks incredible like half the time.
Yeah.
So
I would say for the Sixers, I think panic level is pretty high just because based off what you said is pretty crucial. Like you don't want to fall too behind throughout the regular season and then have to face the Bucks in the first round.
Right.
Definitely don't want that. And then Heat.
What do you think about Miami? Yeah. So
Heat, I've got to go with maybe like a 5 or 6, honestly.
I'm not that panicked if I'm the Heat.
Yeah, I'm not.
Jimmy Butler's always been a bad regular, not bad, but like he's a postseason player.
Yeah, he for 100% sure is postseason. So I think the Heat are going to make it to the playoffs undoubtedly. And I think Jimmy Buck is going to go to work regardless. So
yeah, and the Heat are one that if they get a bad draw and get the Bucks in the first round, that's like, ooh, maybe the Bucks might have an early out, you know, like that. Whereas like the Sixers, I'd be like, that's not great, you know. So yeah, Casey, anything on the Heat?
You know, I'd be, you know, saying more than I actually believe if I went too hard one way or the other. So I'd go kind of down the middle, maybe not too worried, but yeah, I mean, we're getting to that point where
we got to start winning some games. Let's make sure we get in. Yeah. Let's not be in the play.
I think that's where they are. Yeah.
Right.
We're winning some games.
Yeah. All right. So moving on from who we're panicking about, let's talk about, are they real? A couple teams that I want to call out. Are they real? Blazers currently, as of today, sitting, and this will not be the case by the end of the day, but sitting atop the West, tied with House Suns for first in the West. Is this real? Like, are the Blazers for real, or is this like just a hot start? Q, what do you think?
Man, honestly, I think we'll see by tonight. When they
that's
have
like
that
you only need one more game to make your decision on these guys.
No, I mean, listen, they won last night. So, you know, with that being said, I think it potentially could be real. But I want to see more. Like, it's just so early in the season for us to really be asking these questions. Like, is this like a solid team? Like, are they a real team? Like, are they gonna go far in the playoffs? I don't really know. But
so
I think.
Go ahead, Casey.
I think the way you worded the question is nice, John. I like it because is it just a hot starter, or are they really like super great team? I think I'm going to go just like you, kind of down the middle, but I'm firmly down the middle. I'm not ready to jump one way or the other. I think it's truly like 50-50 of both. Obviously, it's a hot start. You know, they're winning ball games, so it's a hot start. And like, are they really going to get?
Are they going to fall
without Dame? Probably not. So
okay, let me ask you this, Q. Do you think the Blazers fall below the 6th seed?
No.
Okay. Then then they're pretty for real. If you think they're going to be one of the top 5 seeds.
Yeah.
Or do you think they fall out of the playoffs entirely? Do you think that's
no way?
Okay,
No
then you would say they're fairly for real. Casey, what do you think here?
Also, one thing I want to add to that, I think they got like Jeremy Grant was an amazing pickup from the Pistons. So I think, that was very crucial because now he can like I don't know if you guys ever watched Jeremy Grant play with the Pistons.
He's a bucket.
He's a really good player, but the Pistons wasn't the right team for him, and I think he can really excel. On the Blazers.
He was incredible in Denver before he went to Detroit, and so they
John,
finally.
What was your line? What was your line on that? What seed do they fall below? What was the line you gave?
Do you think they fall below like the 6th seed or below, or out of the playoffs entirely?
So when we did our playoff predictions episode, I had them
we're,
as the 7.
We're a week later now. You're allowed to think a different
right.
thing.
No, that's what we had them as a 7, and part of the reason why they were that low was because we figured they were going to lose quite a few games without Dame, and if they're not going to, then I'll bump them up one spot for sure. Yeah, I think
they've currently played 3 games without Dame, and they are 2-1. In 2 of the games, Anthony Simons put up 30 points. One of them was a loss to Memphis. The other one was a win over the Rockets. The Rockets aren't very good, but they also got a win over someone more significant. Who was it? It was the Suns. They got a 2-point win over the Suns. Anthony Simons did not play, but Jeremy Grant puts up 30. They finally got what they were looking for from Grant, though. Like, he's been like a little bit like, what is he good? Like, what's going on here all season? And they finally got what they were looking for from Grant in that win over the Suns. So yeah, I mean, look, I'm with you. I actually don't see. I think they stay 5 seed or above. I don't think when it all shakes out and it's all said and done, I don't think they're going to grab one of the top 3 seeds though. So are they for real? Yeah, kinda. Like they're going to be maybe a 2nd round team, I think. Okay, moving on. Other team, are they for real? The Cleveland Cavaliers. Are the Cavs back, Q?
Dude, the Cavs have been looking great. I can't even lie. I've almost 1,000 times in my head thought about like, dang, what if the Cavs had LeBron with this team? And I shouldn't be thinking
they would have too much salary.
Yeah, true. They probably would, but like, dang, man, that would be a sight to see. But I feel like they could make it work. Honestly, I mean, AD and LeBron are on the same team. Why not Donovan Mitchell and LeBron
and Darius Garland?
That's a whole
lot of touches to go around, guy.
They can pay Garland a little less.
He's only a 3rd year, so
yeah, like
he's still on his rookie contract, I think. So.
Cut him down 50%.
I mean, they can't cut him down now, but like basically just offer him 50% less next year. Yeah, he's still on his rookie deal. Okay, yeah. So a couple quick ones, if it'll help your opinion on the Cavs here, Casey. They have lost 1 game all season, and it was the first game when Darius Garland went out early in the game. I think he played 14 minutes or something like that with an eye injury. They lost by 3 to the Raptors, so that's one of those ones that could fall either way. Since then, 128-96 over the Bulls, were no joke this year. 117-107 over the Wizards, 103-92 over the Magic, 132-123 over the Celtics, 121-108 over the Knicks, and then a overtime 1-point win over the Celtics, 114-113, and then a rout of the Pistons. So they've had 2 challenges, 2 tough games all year. Raptors game 1, they lost, and then a challenge against the Celtics. But then they have been not playing down to the level of their competition. Casey, are the Cavs for real? Like, are like, could we see like a deep run? Could we see them in the Eastern Conference Finals?
I wouldn't say so. I think
you don't
this
think
is similar.
Okay,
this is similar to like
maybe
when
not.
You asked,
will
like,
we? Go ahead.
Could we? Sure, anything could happen, right? But I wouldn't put my money on it for sure. When you ask like, similar question, is this a hot start? Yeah, like this is a hot start. And is it something that they're going to be able to keep up? Like, I mean, I don't think it's crazy to say, like, I don't think they can keep this level of performance. Even if they taper off a little bit, they can still be one of the best teams. So I think they're going to taper off at least a little bit, maybe a good amount. Like, what's that going to be when this team with like this new acquisition, when times aren't as sunny, when things start to rain, how bad is it going to get?
What do they look like when they're down?
We haven't seen
the
them
one thing they
handle
haven't been
adversity
yet.
really.
Yeah, one thing they haven't been yet is down by 10 or 15 points.
Right. Or on
so
a
what do they
losing
look-
streak, right? Like what
Right.
happens when they drop
Yeah.
3 games in a row?
On a little slide, yeah. So yeah, I hear you. You want to see him a little more battle tested. I like that.
That said, I mean, I got him in the playoffs, like for sure, right? Like middle playoff team.
And I think so I think where I'm at with these guys is I was kind of saying like, hey, do you think the Blazers drop below the 6th seed, whatever? I think that where I would set the mark would be higher on the Cavs. Like, do you think they drop below the 4 seed? Q.
I think they finished top 3, honestly, dude.
Yeah, like I don't think they drop below the 4. I got
their
Celtics, Bucks, Hawks, them. You know, it's one of those.
Lineup is nasty.
Yeah,
I like this one. I like this one because this line is one above where I actually predicted them, and because I had 2 teams we've just talked about, the Heat and the Cavs. I had the Heat at 4 and the Cavs at 5, and the Heat beating the Cavs in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stick to that, honestly. That feels like something that could still happen.
You think they could drop?
So I'm going to say, like, no disrespect, top 5 team in the East, but I'm going to stick to the prediction right now.
I said it last week, and I think there are some teams that are built for beating them in the playoffs. There are some teams that are better built for playoffs. They've got light. The Heat is one of them. The Sixers are one of them. They've got very light playoff experience as a team, right? Like Donovan Mitchell has playoff experience. Kevin Love, who plays like 2 minutes a game, has playoff experience. Otherwise, I don't think anybody does. Maybe Jared Allen.
Donovan Mitchell has experience choking in the playoffs. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's been to the second round like multiple times. Donovan Mitchell has. So. Yeah. You know, but that's like a lot of playoff games compared to some of these guys. And Donovan Mitchell himself has played really well in the playoffs. The Jazz have choked. I think
he's in there too. So.
He's part of the Jazz.
He's a part of the Jazz.
Part of the choke. So yeah, I do think there's some teams that are kind of built for playoffs a little bit better, but a lot of those teams seem to be kind of having some regular season issues to work through. So I could see these guys taking a top 4 seed for sure. Top 3 seed maybe. All right, moving on. Let's pick some matchups for this week. Key matchups. We'll pick a couple games, and then we will be out. So, starting with tonight's matchups. First up, Blazers versus Suns. Let's just rotate. So we'll start. Q will pick first for the first game, and then Casey will pick first for the next game, and we'll go. What is that? Counterclockwise. We'll go counterclockwise as I see it. Yeah. So Q, Blazers, Suns. What do you got?
I got the Blazers.
Ooh, Casey.
I'll go Suns.
Yes, I think the Suns as well. I think ultimately the Suns are kind of a better team, especially with no Dame. And I think the Blazers kind of stole one from them. All right, Q, Nets, Hornets. Let's gauge how bad you think the Nets really are here. Or sorry, not Q, Casey. Nets, Hornets.
I like this. I'm gonna go Hornets, and I'll be fine being the only one on that side of it.
Q, you think the Nets got it figured out enough to beat the Hornets? I mean, they didn't have it figured out enough to beat the Pacers.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Hornets, honestly.
Especially one more week.
Yeah. Did his mic cut out?
Oops, looks like we lost.
You're muted.
This is what happens when you do shows
You're
live. My mic came out. But we're good. Nets, Hornets. I'm also with the Hornets here. All right, Celtics, Knicks. That's me. So I'm gonna go Celtics here. I think Knicks are interesting. They're kind of like in the middle of the East right now, and I think that's kind of like where they'll be. They'll be like the 6th seed. They'll win like just under half their games, I think. Q, what do you think?
Yeah, I gotta agree with that. Celtics. That's an easy choice for me, honestly.
Yeah, all over that one. We're sweeping that. Yeah, we're going Celtics. Too much firepower there. I think, yeah, it makes sense why we're all on the same side of this one.
Oh.
Yeah. So John's experiencing some difficulties. He's gonna pop right back in here in a second. We don't want to miss out on having him on any of these things, but we'll hope he can jump back in time. I'll move it on. Yeah. I'll be the fill-in host here. Hold on, let me clear this visual up a little bit here. There we go. Q, you and me for a sec. All right, so we're moving on here. We're on to the Cavs and Lakers. Q, I think I know where you're gonna go on this one. Maybe not, actually. Maybe not.
Nah, I'm going with the Cavs.
Yeah, that is what I meant. And then I thought again, like maybe maybe
I'm
not.
realistic about basketball, and I know the Lakers are trash. So
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm all over this one too with the Cavs. It's just what we got to do here.
Casey's also Cavs, huh? All right. Sorry, I'm back. A little technical difficulty. I think the Lakers will get it figured out. No, not against the Cavs. I do think the Lakers will
not again. Maybe against a different team.
Maybe against someone else. All right. Q to you, Jazz Clippers. Clippers are a team that have it figured out a little more than the Lakers. So what do you think here?
Jazz.
Ooh. Do you believe in the Jazz? Do you think they're for real?
I don't know about that, but
I think they're doing a bad job of tanking.
Just have Paul George, and that's it.
That's it, so, yeah. And Reggie Jackson taking 15 dribbles and then shooting a bad mid-range shot. Yeah.
Literally.
I was very surprised you didn't have the Jazz in that Are They For Real section. That was
surprising. No, I mean, look, I was stuck with the Blazers are more impressive right now. So, Casey, Jazz Clippers, what do you got?
I'm going to take the Jazz here, and it's, I think the Jazz are fairly for real. I'd be kind of down the middle, not super hard one way or the other, but it's more of an indictment of the Clippers, I think.
Yeah. All right. Bucks Hawks. Can the Bucks keep this streak alive? I mean,
John, you had the Jazz too, right? I don't think you said it.
Yes, I also have the Jazz. Come on. Yeah. So can the Bucks here? I'll share our show doc here, where we're keeping track of this. Can the Bucks keep this streak going? The Hawks would be a team that could beat them, I think. Q, what do you think?
No, that's easy Bucks.
You're gonna go Bucks.
Yeah.
Casey.
I'll ride with it. I'll say, I agree. I think this is one of the teams that can do it. They got to lose at some point. Let's go Hawks.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too, man. That's where I'm at too. I honestly, it's if I were a betting man, I'd probably take the Bucks, but
you said
this is probably one of the times
pretty low stakes out here.
Yeah, this is times they could lose. So, all right. Blazers Heat. I'll go first on this one. I'm going to take the Heat. I think the Blazers are going to struggle a bit more than they have been without Dame. And so I think the Heat are kind of one of those losses they might take. Q, what do you think?
I think Heat. I agree exactly with what you said.
Casey.
I'm just gonna be Mr. Controversial again here and say I do think the Heat, like I said, I think they figured out. They end up with a pretty decent seed in the playoffs, but I think it gets worse before it gets better. And I think you need a little more adversity before you really get hardened and become the final form of your team. So let's go Blazers. I'm on this one. I like it.
All right. Okay, Casey, I think you're picking this one first. Nets, Mavs. Are the Nets going to win any games this week? I think is the question. If you think they're going to lose to the Hornets,
I'm going to go with the Mavs here.
Okay. All right. Q, I guess I'll go second on this one. Yeah, I do think the Nets will win a game this week, but it won't be against the Mavericks. It'll be one of the ones I didn't put up here. I think that they're going to beat the Lakers. Sorry, Q.
Just had to throw that in there.
Q, what do you think? Nets, Mavs?
Mavs.
Yeah, all right. Here we go. Round 2, Jazz, Lakers. Jazz took round 1. Q, you're picking this one first.
Yikes.
I'm going to go with the Lakers on this one.
Got to.
My second here? No, Casey's second. Casey, what do you think?
You can't take another co-host's favorite team over your own favorite team. I mean, when push comes to shove, I don't think anybody's ever done that once on any sport. So, but where am I going? Because I'm not super invested.
You're the middleman here.
I think, don't take it the wrong way, Q, but I'm just going off of what we've seen so far. I'll go Jazz because of that. Maybe the Lakers come back and surprise me, but I don't think they're ready to do that yet either.
You know what? As I look at Jazz schedule this week, they also have the Hawks, and the Hawks could be a challenge for them. But I actually see this as maybe the most likely loss to the Lakers, because it seems like the Lakers might kind of be getting it figured out. I think they're going to lose some other games this week, but they might win this one. But yeah, out of principle. And I'm not taking your team over my team. Sorry,
John. You think the Hawks can beat the Bucks, but the Jazz are going to handle them pretty easily?
No, I don't think they're going to handle them easily. I think that they could beat them. Yeah, I think the Hawks are a little weak defensively, and the Jazz are kind of built for a bad defensive team.
Listen, after Russ's good game, his confidence is up there.
Yeah.
So
I hear you. No, if the Lakers win, I won't be surprised. But
the man's had a lot of, he's had a hard
him.
time. Like let's have him have his day in the sun, I don't mind it.
I mean, the Jazz are no Cavs in this situation. Like
no, they're not at that. Yeah, I think the Cavs feel more legit. They feel more real for sure. All right, Battle of New York. Q, what do you think?
I'm gonna go with the Knicks.
Okay, mid 3. Casey.
I mean, I think the Nets are they're a circus, but it would be the most Knicks thing ever just to lose to the Nets here, right? So like I'm gonna pick the Nets.
Oh my God. You took the words right out of my mouth. Like I just kind of believe in the Knicks to lose this one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't think this starts some crazy like winning streak for the Nets.
No, I like the Nets don't like this is like
they're like, of course we beat them. Like
yeah. Right. All right. Battle of LA. Q. Or I guess Casey. Battle of LA.
Ooh, you know what? Q? I'm gonna go Lakers here.
I'm also going Lakers here. I actually think the Lake Show might kind of get things figured out a little this week because I wouldn't be surprised by a Jazz win either. Q, what you think?
If I'm honest,
he's like,
if I'm honest, I feel like the Lakers are gonna lose this because they always lose.
That's true.
Lose.
They are good at losing the battle.
No, I love it if you hold that there. I love it if you do. The only Lakers fan not taking the Lakers.
No, I can't.
He can't.
I gotta go with the Lakers, but like the Clippers always beat the Lakers.
It is true. During the regular season, the Clippers.
You can actually look up the stat. I think like the Clippers are like literally.
So you're saying this is like the 49ers and Rams, basically?
No, I'm not saying that.
No.
I mean, it's only been like 4 years running.
Yeah, it's not like one. No, Casey, it's not like that because one of the two teams isn't clearly better, like it is with the 49ers over the Rams, but like they happen to win every time.
What? Wait, what are you talking about?
Just taking pot shots.
We'll save this one. Tune in next Tuesday for the continuation.
The 49ers are not better than the Rams. What are you talking about?
Okay, moving on. This is an interesting matchup.
Catch in the end zone, but
this is an interesting matchup to me because we have the Nuggets, who are I think 4th, 5th seed, something like that in the West right now. Celtics, similar records. Like this is one of those like kind of mid seed across conference matchups that I really like. And honestly, I think, and this is just my bias towards the West, I think Nuggets might take it. Q, what you think?
Dude, I think the Nuggets, honestly, like with Jamal Murray back, it's dangerous. And I would very much say like I feel like the Celtics don't really have an answer for Joker.
Yeah. I hear you. Yeah, Al Horford, is he really an answer for the Joker? I don't know. Yeah. Casey, what do you think?
An easy 30 piece.
That is a great point, but I'm taking the Celtics.
Yeah. I know you're like, you're Celtics.
I mean, they're up there for me for sure.
Okay, Casey, set this up so you would be picking this one first. How much do you believe in your Dubs?
Oh, I got them here. I do.
Ooh. You think this is the beginning of the slide for the Cavs?
I think I put that. I'm trying to stay consistent here, and I did not look forward to see that we were going to be talking about this matchup. But yeah, I think the teams with the hot starts, there's inevitably some losses coming, and why not this one?
Yeah, I think I have Western Conference bias big time, and I want to say the Warriors, but like in my gut, if I'm like, this is one where I'll go the opposite way of where I did earlier, where if I were betting, I would probably take the Cavs. So I'm gonna go Cavs. Q, what do you think?
I'm going Cavs 100%.
Okay. All right, another litmus test for how real we think the Blazers are. Blazers, Mavericks. Q, is this you first?
Yeah, easy Mavericks.
Easy Mavs.
The Mavs are just too good.
AC second.
Ooh, this one might be the toughest one for me right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I think they're going to be Dameless. I think there's no Dame here.
Yeah, I thought so, but it's going to depend on how the Lakers do leading up to this game, I think, and maybe the Mavs too. But Oh man, I'm down the middle here, man. I'm gonna go Mavs.
Based on Luka's play, was it last night? I mean, they need a running mate for him so bad.
They do.
The Mavs need a running mate for him so
Dinwiddie
bad.
is not enough.
Who?
Dinwiddie.
Dinwiddie, or I guess Tim Hardaway. You know, like they don't have someone who's a real running mate for him. If they did, they'd be dangerous.
I know it would have been overreacting, but the Mavs could have even been on the panic meter a little bit, like, because I think if you talk about teams that need to make a move, like you just said, I think they're up there.
Yeah. I hear you.
They made it to the third round, so
for sure. Yep. Okay, I'm gonna go out on an island on this one and say Blazers. I think that the Blazers are gonna have kind of a weird week, but like a loss to the Lakers and a win over the Mavericks. That's basketball. Okay, another litmus test on how good we think both of these teams are. Who do we think wins the battle of the strugglers here? I
think that was a Freudian slip. The batter, like which team is badder, like worse?
Which team is? Yeah, I think I
got
who's first here, and maybe I'm just biased because I kind of saw them turning it around against the Jazz. You know what? No, I'm gonna flip.
Didn't like the way that tasted in his mouth.
Okay, well, let me just think. Let me just think, because I think the Nets are going to beat the Knicks this week. I think they're going to lose another game. Do I think they're going to actually win more games than they lose this week? Or do I think the Lakers are actually going to win more games than they lose this week?
Wait, so is Kyrie out for this?
Kyrie will be out. Yes.
Out.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
I know, but this doesn't matter. You know what? I'm flipping back. Sorry.
Wow.
Q, you're second.
Stay over there.
He doesn't want you.
I'm so wishy-washy on this one. This is the hardest pick for me, I think. This is the hardest pick for me.
Why is that hard? This is an easy Lakers win.
This is I think this is an easy Lakers win too. I mean, if for no other reason, because Kyrie will be gone.
All right.
And also for the biggest reason of all, the Nets suck. Like, terrible.
They honestly, if the Nets figure out what to do with Ben Simmons, they might actually be good. But like, I don't think there's anything you can do with him. Like, I think they might end up just honestly taking him out of the rotation, and that might make them better. That might make them better. That's wild. Like, they're gonna trade this guy for James Harden.
Anyway. I have a question. Which one of those matchups was the hardest for you to pick?
Bucks. I'm showing my middle finger. Which matchup was this for, Tim? I think this was Hawks. I think he's mad we picked the Hawks. Sorry. I mean, they gotta lose at some point, guy. Casey, your question was which matchup was hardest for you to pick. I honestly think the Nets Lakers matchup was the hardest one for me to pick.
I was gonna say the last two were tough. I think the Blazers Mavericks one was, though. That I wasn't gonna feel good no matter what I said, I think, in that one.
Yeah. Q, which one was the hardest for you to pick?
I think it's between Clippers, Lakers, Blazers, Mavs, and Cavs, Warriors.
The whole reason Clippers, Lakers was hard for you is because you actually think the Clippers are going to win, but like you just can't say it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's tough.
100%.
All right. Well, this was a good time, boys. Glad we got on. Glad we're all here. Talk some hoops.
For the first time.
What's up?
All three of us are here.
Yeah, first time all three of us are here for basketball. That's all we got for you, Triple Cross. Tune in Tuesday for football. We'll cover some football on probably Tuesday, right? Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm guessing.
It should be Tuesdays.
There we go. This is my NBA top 10. Tim, thanks for hanging around. Thanks for watching all of our picks. Sorry we didn't pick the Bucks over the Hawks, but we just think they got to lose at some point. You know, like the Bucks are great. I've got them in the 1 seed in the playoffs. Actually, I got them in the 2. Casey's got them in the 1. But yeah, Casey, say all the YouTube things. Take us out.
Guys, thank you for tuning into Triple Cross. If you enjoyed the show, please drop a like on the video. We very much appreciate that. Subscribe definitely so that you see us in your feed. And so YouTube knows that you like channels like ours. That way they can find people like you and suggest our channel to them so we get more people in here. Maybe we can get some more chat discussion going on. Thanks for hopping in there, Tim. Love to see it. And don't forget, lastly but not least, to hit the icon of the bell to get notifications for whenever we drop new content onto this channel, because we want to talk really any sports, but specifically on Saturdays we talking basketball, right? So that's what we got going on. So we see you next time, Triple Cross. Keep it real.
Let's go.